So good morning guys, welcome back to another video of history and geography. Today we'll be focusing on the history of Berlin Wall, and here is a map of the city. This is a Google Earth on time lapse, and now what you're seeing is the frontier in 1984, which can be seen from an eye. So I can literally draw it. In some areas it can barely be seen, but okay, so for example, now we got that turquoise part depicts the Brandenburg Gate, and there is Potsdamer Platz, and that was the area in which the no man's land was at its widest point, 200 meters. The width, the thickness could depend on many factors. It could be as wide as 200 meters, it could be also as little as 20 meters. But now, enough of that. Let's go back to the topic I would like to talk about, and that is the history of what happened to the Reconciliation Church in Bernauerstrasse. So where I'm zooming in is basically Bernauerstrasse, so between Wedding in West Berlin and Mitte, so the central part of East Berlin. In the early days of January 1985, the Church of Reconciliation was demolished because it apparently disrupted the view of Grenzpostens. Grenzpostens, from German, it means border guards. So they were the border guards that patrol the wall and were instructed to shoot at anyone, so to respect the so-called Schießbefehl. Um, so what I'm showing you now is it is deemed of a person that likes doing in-depth analysis. So it is really specific. Most people might not even understand what I'm showing you, but I will try to be as much concise and precise as I can. So the line of the former frontier is barely visible, but if I'm zooming in, you see there is a brownish line, and I will show you that even from an eye, even from a poor definition map like this, you can spot the difference between before and after. Did you notice that brownish spot depicts the place where the church stood, and it was later demolished. So for 24 years it was spared from demolition, maybe for ethical reasons, and until the authorities of the GDR decided to explode it. So it generated a huge dust cloud, a loud boom that was heard even on the west side. Some dust even reached the western part of the city, and yeah, you can see the difference. And this is really interesting because you can even do it with other maps like in New York before and after when the Twin Towers stood. There's a difference in color actually between before and after. Now I will show you some pictures of the church if you've never heard about it. So here you are. Here's a picture of the Church of Reconciliation in the late 70s, early 70s. So you can state that by the look of the wall. So the frontier was still looked like this, and there were also anti-tank obstacles they were gradually removed from the city wall, no man's land, in the late 80s. So from 1985, so when the church was demolished, um, uh, anti-tank obstacles were still there, and so yeah, here's a map if you're interested in that. There's a brief footage. There's a brief footage of this demolition. Here's a color picture, and today on the very same side of the church was reconstructed, rebuilt, and in modern version, of course. And also the bishop of East Berlin was really touched by this because he felt like he lost a child. Also, the priest that celebrated masses were interrupted because, of course, there was a restricted place, the restricted area patrolled by border guards, etc. So the church was warded off and loaded with dynamite and demolished. So yeah,